What's going on, golf addicts? Welcome to the 2023 Shriners DFS DraftKings preview. DB here, Tour Junkies. Pat Perry, Tour Junkies.
Do you have to do anything special to be a Shriner? Like, I mean, I don't mean this in a bad. I'm like saying I feel like Shriners are very special people. Like, it's got to be like
It's a tight club, is there some sort of initiation to get in there?
yeah. Like, is there initiation or like if you got a skeleton in the closet, you can't be a Shriner.
Yeah. I wonder if they take you to like a go-kart track, a local community go-kart track, and make you ride around, and you got to get like a certain lap time because you got to be able to ride those things in the fair, you know?
Yeah, and if you can't
Do
do
they still do that?
if you can't do a figure eight, you're out.
Do they
You're
still do that?
totally out.
Anyway, yeah, it's the Shriners. We're here. You know, Luke List, we covered List victory in the 5-man playoff and me leaving him off the betting card. We covered that in the betting show. We're going to move on from that. Let's just take away some DFS items here from the Sanderson quickly. It was a pretty chalky week, which is kind of what I predicted. You know, last week we talked about some of the DFS angles and how with these weak fields, it kind of changes things, but the perfect lineup. So not to say anybody had this, I don't think anybody did, but the perfect lineup would have been pretty chalky. Ludwig Aberg, Ben Griffin, Luke List, Mark Hubbard, Henrik Norlander, and Scott Stallings. Everybody was in the playoff, and then add Mark Hubbard. You would have scored around 717 points. You would have spent all of your $50,000 salary cap, and that total ownership would have added up to around 75%. You know, Ludwig we talked about him a lot last week, what was going to happen. The more we started talking about it, and I know by the time we got to the chat on Wednesday night, it was kind of one of those things where, man, you know, starting to come around. We told everybody on Wednesday night that we had someone close to Ludwig tell us that he looked sharp and he looked great. Ludwig obviously got interviewed after our podcast on Monday on you know, doing media press. And I even saw a video of somebody walking along the fairway with him in a practice round, and he was talking about how he felt, his recovery, and what he needed to do. And he started inspiring some confidence, and so much so that he came in around 30% owned and was definitely the highest priced player in the field. But he paid off because even though he didn't end up getting the 10 extra bonus points for the win like Luke List did, he was still the highest scoring DraftKings player of the slate. So pretty remarkable stuff from Ludwig. I mean, the kid's special.
He really is. He's it's already obvious that he's one of the next big stars.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll win as early as it seemed like. You know, not Hovland, but I guess Morikawa won majors and a tournament early, and Wolf. But he's got it, and it's got to be coming. So,
I mean, you don't count the Irish Open.
I'm talking about a PGA Tour win.
Was it the Irish Open or the Omega Masters? I think it was the Omega Masters.
Yeah.
I say that.
I guess it's different though, because he is European. So okay, I'll give him credit for that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess it's kind of a little bit of everything here. The chalk did hit, but also only 3 of the top 10 point scorers were owned over 10%. However, 9 of the 10 highest owned players all made the cut and all finished T43 or better, and about 6 of those would have paid off their price. So I think it was a week. It was kind of a week for the chalk.
Yeah,
it just kind of was. Now, but it was, you know, fun to watch that tournament down the stretch. Luke List, Henrik Norlander, a couple of my fellow Champions of Treat brothers out there doing their thing. That was fun to see, fun to watch. And like I said in the betting show, hopefully I'll get to lay hands on that chicken cock trophy. That'll be cool. Luke's going to bring it home. Maybe we'll put it in the clubhouse. I don't know. You think it'll go at Champions or ACC? Probably ACC.
Probably ACC. I mean, he lives literally like right next door.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the trophy's going to stay at his house, but I mean,
yeah.
I wonder
technically if it's at his house though, it's almost at ACC. So I think I see I don't obviously live there, but I see pictures of them at ACC. I feel like more, but he does play both places, I guess. But Norlander's always I feel like at Champions.
Yeah. Anyway, it was good to see a good tournament, but we turned the page. We turned the page to the Shriners. Hopefully you guys all racked up some cash, because I will say this in the Discord last week. Your boy, yours truly. I may have taken Luke List off the betting card at the last minute, but I was paying people off in props plays. I was nailing the props plays, Pat. I don't know if you caught any of that, but
I did. I
Did quite well there.
unfortunately, I didn't tail any of them, but I
Oh,
did
wow.
notice you were absolutely crushing it with the props plays, which you tend to do. You've done most of the year.
Yeah, I think I've done pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, as good as I did, our boy Alex Caruso in there, our resident NFL tout, is just on an absolute heater. I think he's getting he's at like 70+% hitting his props plays right. So if you're in the Discord, make sure you're paying attention to the NFL Touts channel that we have over there. Alex is doing tremendous work along with others. Our boy Ben Little. I don't know how his week turned out yesterday with
I
the
don't
Circa
think he had a good
Millions.
day.
He had a rough week with the Circa
Yeah.
Millions, but plenty of good NFL and college football tips and plays and bets and props and all that good stuff, chatter and debate going on in the Discord right now. So a great time to be in. And if anything, I've been paying people's membership with the props place. So get in there, $20 a month. That's all it is. We're still hopping. We're still popping off in the Discord every single week. And another week where we have full allotment of TJ content goodies. Emails going out this week. There's already some blog articles up. Our boy Nate Moore's got the rundown up. By the way, he supplies all our college football bets in the Discord. He researches the hell out of that. So take advantage of all that good stuff coming out. The betting show is already dropped. So if you're interested in the betting show for the Shriners, get in there. Let's talk about some background on the last two Shriners as it pertains to DFS before we move into the slate here, Pat. It's kind of been a tale of two different years here between 2021 and 2022. Now, I did a more full write-up with a bunch of bullet points for those years that's in the Discord, but I'll share just a couple of things. Obviously, last year's winner was Tom Kim. You had a little bit stronger field on the top end here at the Shriners with Patrick Cantlay also involved. But last year at the Shriners, it was an absolute chalk fest. Your perfect lineup would have seen about 93% total ownership. It was insane. All of the top 10 highest owned players made the cut, and 5 of them finished inside the top point scorers for the week. Now in 2021, complete opposite. I believe Sung J M won that one. Yet you still had some live boys playing there. Matt Wolf played well. Mark Leishman played well. Your total ownership in that perfect lineup was about 40%, and you only would have spent about 45 grand of your salary cap. And 4 of the top 10 highest owned golfers missed the cut. And only Matt Wolf finished inside the top 25 DK point scorers of the 10 highest owned. So definitely a mixed bag for the last 2 years. Not sure what we want to pull off of that. I mean, I think this is going to tend to follow what we've seen in these fall events in terms of the top end. Chalk is more than likely going to pay off. And then it's just about picking your spots in the mid range and the bottom end. But winning score here is averaged around 23 under. It is birdie time, baby. Birdie time. So let's get into it, Pat.
All right.
Top of the board here. Let me pull this up. You got Ludwig, and they jacked him up to 11K. Tom Kim, Cam Davis, JT Poston round out your 10K and above range. Then you've got Siwoo, Eric Cole, Højgaard. We're going to see him for the first time since the Ryder Cup. Emiliano Grillo, Adam Hadwin, Adam Schenk, and Lucas I Suck at Golf Herbert rounds out the 9K, 10K range. We're talking some tournament plays, possible pivots. We're going to talk a cash play, talk a little bit of chalk. Let's start with the chalk talk, Pat.
Okay.
It's going to be Aberg. It's going to be Kim.
100% both. Yep.
And then I think it might be Adam Schenk. That's my gut.
That wouldn't surprise me. I know when we did the betting show, you and I are both pretty high on Schenk. He's been playing good. I think both Kims could be a little bit chalky. I think Siwoo could also have some chalk too. But I do agree on Schenk. He is one that just feels like, we're constantly seeing him in the top 25. You look at his last few events, he has 2 top 10s at the Tour Championship, which obviously is a short field, but a top 10 at the FedEx St. Jude.
But he stormed up the board. Remember, I think he was in 30th or he was near 30th.
Yeah. So Schenk and he feels like a guy who's just ready to win anyway.
Yeah.
So I agree. There's definitely going to be some chalk there.
Yeah. I think the pivots are naturally going to be guys like Herbert, Højgaard, I think could be questionable. Poston, maybe. And maybe Hadwin or Grillo. And their Grillo, missing the cut last week. I don't know what he was owned last week at the Sanderson, but it was his first event back after the playoffs or pre-playoffs. So, he could be an interesting pivot for me. I think out of those names that I mentioned, Grillo might be the one that's the most interesting to me in terms of a possible pivot. I'm not going to have any Herbert, not going to have any Poston, and probably won't have any Højgaard, but I could maybe come around on it at some point. Other than that, it's chalk talk, babe. It's time to eat the chalk. Like Ludwig, Tom Kim. I love Cam Davis. We'll see. We'll see where he shakes out. I love Si Woo. You think anybody's gonna? You think people will tire? I know I'm all over the place. You think people will tire on Eric Cole after a 35th place finish and pretty chalky last week?
Yeah, I think you could get a lower owned Eric Cole this week. A lot of people bet him. I did. A lot of people, had him in DFS. I could definitely see the ownership getting cut a little bit, which I'd be fine with. I think then you might, you get a lower like 10, 11% Eric Cole. I'd be
Yeah.
happy to play that. I feel like you were all over the place there, but
Yes.
there is going to be a lot of chalk at the top here with Cam Davis, Tom Kim, and Ludwig. You kind of glossed over JT Poston, but I feel like JT could be in. I don't know. Like we didn't talk about him at all in the betting show, but I feel like he could be a little bit of a good pivot play. I wrote him down as a potential GPP play. I know he's been playing better recently. Fantastic putter. Any type of player we know can win on this golf course.
Yeah.
Unless there's something that I don't know, I feel like Poston could make some sense this week.
All I will say, and listen, golf is weird. We've heard this before. All I will say is I have it on good authority that JT has not touched a club since Sunday at the BMW.
Hmm.
But again, sometimes that doesn't matter. Sometimes it just doesn't matter. For me, as the fourth highest price guy in the field, and a guy who, doesn't have the best record here, I think I'm fine just trusting that and passing on it. If it
Yeah.
burns me, if it burns me, it burns me.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a tear. I mean, 3 missed cuts, yes, but he was
Yeah.
T20 last year.
Yeah, but he's the fourth highest price guy in the field.
Well, I know. I'm just saying, that doesn't. I get it. Like, I mean, with that knowledge, I might stay away, but I still could feel like if I get like a fairly low owned Poston up top,
Yeah.
I may
Yeah.
sprinkle him in for sure.
Yeah.
So just saying there. But I do think, despite Shink being a little bit chalky, I'll probably go with it. What about a chalky Adam Hadwin? Is Adam Hadwin going to have any chalk to him?
I don't think so. I think, people are going to get all jazzed up about the history, I guess, but then you get the Adam Schenk history right below him, but also better recent form with Adam Schenk and $100 savings. I do think Hadwin's going to get a little attention. Yes. I don't think he's going to be chalk at all.
Yeah. If he was chalky, I would fade him for sure.
For sure. I do think I was messing around just a little bit, tinkering, just building some dummy lineups. And, unlike last week, this 6K range, there's some plays. There are some plays in the 6K range. So anytime that happens, you're likely to get a little more tendency of, lineups, optimizers, whatever, to get you a little more studs and duds. Whether it's now I tried making a lineup with Ludwig and Tom Kim, and you can do it. It's not great, but you can do it. So, but it's definitely doable to make a lineup with a couple of guys in this range. And even if you go into the 9Ks only, if you don't even get to the 10K range, you can still build a pretty nice lineup and have some players in that 6K, low 7K range. There's some good options in there. So I think that's going to happen. I guess in terms of cash, if I was playing 50-50s or double ups, I thought about it. I think it's actually Eric Cole. Like I do trust Eric Cole to continue making cuts, continue doing his thing. When he has a spike week with the driver, primarily in terms of getting it in the fairway and better positioned, his irons are so good. I think we talked about this on the betting show. He lost over 3 strokes off the tee last week at the Sanderson, but still gained over 3 strokes on approach, which is just that's tough to do when you're not gaining strokes off the tee. You're in worse positions. You maybe have longer clubs into these greens than other guys do, but that's how good he is with his irons. This is a tournament where your average green and regulation number is like 13 greens a day out of 18. And that's been consistent for the last 5 years. You have, the guys that play the best here are not necessarily the guys that just hit 80% of their fairways. Being in the fairway is important, but it's guys who hit 80 to 85% of their greens and reg. And Eric Cole is definitely capable of doing that. So I think my safest cash play in the 9K range is Eric Cole. So I think that's where I'll go.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I was kind of leaning Shank in there.
Shink was the next option for me. I gave a slight edge to Cole just because we've seen him since, we haven't seen Shink since tournament champions or tournament champions.
I think Shink definitely has a little more upside. I mean, he's got 6 top 10s in the last 11 starts, but he does have 3 missed cuts. Freaking Cole hasn't missed a cut since the Schwab. That's May, people. Okay, that's in May. All right.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, dude. He's very consistent. He's very consistent. All right, does that kind of cover the 9K range?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's going to leave the 8K range, as it normally does. Last week we talked about how the 8K range was the pivot town or whatever. I don't remember what we said it was. It was something around pivots.
I don't think you'd call it Pound Town.
No, I didn't call it Pivot Pound Town. Pivot Pound Town. Anyway, a lot of good stuff came out of the 8K range last week, and I think there's definitely potential here too. So you got JJ Spawn, Rye, Norman. I'm not going to name all the names, but anyway, you see who it is. Tell me who you think. Give me your let's see, let's mix it up here. Give me your cash play. Give me your cash lock here in the 8K range. 50-50s or double ups. Who do you like?
I like Svensson in cash, 8,200.
Don't mind it.
So he's going to be the cash play for me. Now he doesn't have a great history here.
No,
but he has just been very solid lately. Last 4 events, he's got 3 top 20s. So I like Svensson a lot here in cash.
I think I go with Homeless Hubs here right at 8K even. Pairing him up with Eric Cole. He's got a decent record here. Was 2 really bonehead holes away from actually probably stealing the Sanderson Farms championship from everybody late Sunday. Ends up bogeying his last 2 to finish just outside the playoff. But Hubbard's hitting it nice, man. I mean, his irons are dialed right now. Irons are absolutely dialed. And I think he played a little better off the tee last week too, because he's been struggling with that still a little bit. So I think Hubbard is the cash lock for me. And that leads me to the chalk talk. I was going to say Hubbard and Svensson potentially.
Yeah, I think Svensson.
And definitely Vincent Norman. Don't you think? Or you think Vincent could slide under the radar?
I think he could slide under the radar a little bit. List could have some chalk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who's the other name I have here?
Yeah.
Norman, I don't know. Maybe I think the optimizers might ratchet up Norman's ownership a little bit. If you were like hand building and you were kind of halfway paying attention, or it was like the lower money contest or something, I could see skipping over Norman, not realizing that he's, he just won again. And I think actually he was the one that won the Irish Open, I think, overseas. And then he played well at the BMW, I think. Maybe you weren't paying attention to that. He doesn't have the record here. But I think Vincent Norman's a stud. I like him here a lot, but I don't know how chalky he's going to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the 3 up top here are the ones that I feel like are the most interesting to me, actually, because I think I could see some folks just skipping over them.
Mm-hmm.
Spawn, Norman, and Rye. Spawn is I never want to play JJ Spawn,
Same.
but a lower owned Spawn who has a good history here with a few top 20s. He's been playing fairly well. He was T11 at the Fortinet. You look at the stats, he checks a lot of boxes. He's top 15 in ball striking, approach, very accurate off the tee, 30th in opportunities gained. I mean, I think Spawn is one that, and nobody ever plays him. He'll probably be 6, 7, 8% owned somewhere around there.
I don't know if he'll be that.
I'll play him. I wrote him down as a GPP play because I think a lot of people are just going to skip over Spawn. They never want to play him.
Yeah.
Never think he's any good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hello, my name is David. I'm that guy. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
especially what I consider like an inflated price, which is 89. I think that's
Another
inflated.
reason. I think that's another reason. People are just going to skip right over him.
I said this last week about Mark Hubbard, and I don't remember what he came in ownership wise, but I said that last week. He was like 88 or 8,900, and I said I think it's a little overpriced, but I like it. And sometimes that's how you get leverage in tournaments, because people just go, I like the guy, but I don't like him at that price, so they bounce, and you can jump on it. Now, I don't think you need to do that with a lot of players as you build lineups, but
No.
it's worth considering for
Rye's
some.
another one.
Now, I like Rye a little more. I think
Yeah.
I trust Rye a little more than I trust JJ Spawn, which is weird because I mean consistency, and at least recently would go to JJ, but Rye's also done well over on the DP World Tour. I think he's a very viable pivot. You mentioned List. I'm down to go back to Luke List if we get the low owned Luke List. But Smalley's also right there, and I do like Smalley, and I still like Hostler. Like, I love this 8K range, a lot like last week's 8K range. I think the only guys I'm really staying away from for sure is I'm not going to jump on Seabez right away just because he finished great last week, finished sixth. I get it. I'm not back in on that just yet. I'm going to wait. He's kind of played like trash. I just want to wait and see. I'm not interested. I will probably ignore Putnam. I know you kind of like Putnam. You mentioned him on the betting show. Obviously, a good record here. He's been consistent. I don't know. I can't with Putnam. But other than those two, and bordering on JJ, because I like Rye a little more, and I think they'll be about the same. I really like a lot of this 8K range. So it's going to come down to ownership leverage for sure.
Yeah. What about Seabez?
What were you doing? I literally just had this whole monologue about
Oh,
CBS.
sorry. I was in deep into looking at JJ Spawn's putting numbers. Anyway, okay, good job. You like Seabez?
No, he was the one I said I'm not. I literally just did this 30 seconds ago. We are doing a show together. If you want to look at JJ Spawn's putting numbers, look at him before the show.
Well, I didn't. I wanted. He was, to me, he's like the moderate. He's like the next Luke List. His putting numbers are so
Do not
bad.
compare JJ Spawn to Luke List.
Look at his approach and ball striking numbers and off the tee. It's fantastic.
No, it's not like Luke. It's not as good as Luke.
That's what was starting to. That was what threw me off,
dude. You know, my memory sucks, but your multitasking sucks.
No, I'm a very good multitasker.
No, you're not. You're
it's
not.
just when I'm thinking about something else, I'm not even. I'm tuning you out like totally.
Right,
Yeah.
which is what you do. You do other things too. You
No,
tune
but
out.
you can multitask
You do it on
and
the
tuning
chat.
out are two different things.
You do it on the chat.
I'm an expert multitasker. You can't have
No,
the
you're not.
OCD. Yes, I am. Yes, I
No,
am.
you're not.
Yeah, I could do so many multiple things at once. It's crazy.
Do you know how many clips we could have accumulated over the last 9 years of you doing exactly what you just did, not being an expert in multitasking when we're
No.
literally
There's a
recording
difference
show?
between multitasking and paying attention.
Okay.
Multitasking is doing a bunch of things at once.
Like paying attention?
That's one of the parts of multitasking, but it's not the only one. I was literally the whole time, I'm like looking at 4 different player. That's multitasking. I'm trying to be ahead of the game here, looking at some 7K guys.
Be in the moment. We're in the moment in the 8K range. Come be in the moment.
Multitasking is not just about being in the moment.
I know. I don't want you to multitask. I want you to be in the show.
Well, I don't care about Seabez enough to listen to what you talking about Seabez.
You cared about him enough to ask me about him. You brought him up.
Well, because I didn't hear you talk about him. I was wondering about him. What did you say about Seabez anyway?
I just said I'm not buying it yet. I know he finished sixth. I'm not buying it yet. He sucked for a lot of the year. I'm not going to jump. I'm not going to get all hot and lathered up about Seabez at 8K coming off a sixth place finish. If it bites me, it bites me. Not interested.
Okay.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
you don't know what?
He kind of does interest me. He kind of does.
Good. Listen, if you enjoy me and Pat bickering like this, then wait till you get a chance to come hang out with me and Pat on that first full week in April on a lovely Tuesday afternoon at the best golf tournament in the world. Okay, you have a
Did you
chance.
lose your train of thought there?
No, I'm trying to make sure I'm careful with what I say. Thank you.
Okay.
At the best golf tournament in the world, April 2024. You got a chance. Come hang out. You and a guest. Come hang out with us on that Tuesday. This is the best chance you'll ever have of winning that opportunity. Only about 400 or so of you are going to be in the pot to have your name drawn in just a few weeks when we draw the winner late October. So all you got to do to throw your name in the hat for that is sign up for our friends at SoBet. The link is in the description. The link, I just verified this just now. The link will give you a free your first month for free. Just give it a try. If you don't like it after the first month, you can cancel at any time. No big deal. But you won't want to cancel because they're helping people print money over there. NFL, college handicapping. It's obviously where we do our golf exclusive top 40 round robin over there. That's up over 9 units, almost 10 units, and literally a handicapper for every sport in the world on SoBet. Now up to 60 plus vetted handicappers in all kinds of sports. Transparency with the plays and the picks, logic behind every pick. They have to put unit values on every pick, and they recap and tell you when they win or they lose. So it's not like Twitter. Okay. Hop on SoBet, check it out. It's now I had some people DM us and ask us, can I download SoBet if I'm not in a legal sports betting state? Yes, you can. It's just a content app. So you can use the content from SoBet to help you if you bet offshore somewhere, or if you're ever in a legal betting state and you have the opportunity to bet, you already have access to SoBet, as well as a lot of their cappers will help you in the props market. So if it's underdog or something like that, their information will help you there. And yeah, so give it a shot. Great product. All you have to do is download the app, give it a shot with our link, try it for a month, see what you think. And if you've already done that, you're already entered to win. We'll be doing that drawing very soon. And don't forget, a hack is whoever you would bring as your guest, contact them and say, hey, go sign up for SoBet, do this. And then we'll just make an agreement that if one of us wins, we take the other one. And now you've just increased your chances. So there's the hack. All right. Are you ready to get into the 7K range now that you're ahead of the game here? You're
I'm
ahead?
very much ready for the 7K range of the Shriners.
Okay, well, I'll let you lead the way. You lead the way here on the 7K range.
Well, I got to lead with Davis Thompson, who didn't take up much thought for me. I do like him a lot.
Yep.
He's a guy that we saw, play pretty well last week. He was T12 here the first time he ever played here, which I think is pretty daggum good for the first time playing here. So I do like Davis Thompson at 7,800. I think I'm going back to SH Kim, DB.
Oh, really? I mean,
Mhm.
I talked everybody out of that last week.
It was good. I'm
Thankfully so.
glad for you did good. But I'm going to go back to SH Kim at 7,600. Another guy that finished T4 here last year. His first time also playing here. So I think SH Kim is back in play despite the miscut. I do like that. Justin Suh.
Mhm.
A lot of people like Suh this week.
I mean, why wouldn't they? He's been playing all right. He's been playing consistently.
He's been all right.
They're gonna learn that he's a Vegas guy. He's based out of here. We know that. By
Yeah.
the way, great opportunity for us to plug our interview with his caddy, Ryan Jameson, which is on the
Mhm.
YouTube channel right now. You can go watch that interview. Interviewed him last week. Great guy, good dude. Talked a little bit about Suh. Talked about this week as well. So go check that out. But I think that's probably going to play into it a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know about Suh yet. He's one I'm probably going to look at, but wait. I want to see what the ownership is for him. He's played here twice. He's got a T8 back in 2021. Missed the cut last year. Hasn't played a whole lot of golf. He did play the Fortinet and finished T30.
Well, he played on the DP World Tour before the
What did he have there? I don't know.
Hang on, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, he did because he finished.
He played
Didn't
the
he have a top
Omega.
25 somewhere?
Yeah, he played the Omega Masters. Finished
Yeah,
25th, which is
yeah.
the event that Ludwig won.
Before that, on the PGA Tour, he missed the cut at the Wyndham.
Yeah,
I don't
not a bad,
know.
not a bad field there for that Omega Masters either.
Yeah, Suh's one I'm kind of iffy on. I think a lot of people are going to talk about him. I think he's going to get talked up on a lot of shows. I just don't know. I'm kind of a wait and see on Suh right now.
Yeah, I have down here because you just mentioned two of them. I wrote down three names that I consider I think will be chalk in this range. Suh, I think could be, but maybe not. Maybe he's kind of borderline. I think Davis Thompson
I think
and
Thompson will be chalk.
Ben Griffin. I mean, it was a brutal day. It was a brutal Sunday for Ben at the Sanderson to finish runner up to losing that playoff. Have multiple chances to close the door and he didn't. But hard to argue with, with as good as he's looked. Now, if he's that chalky, I think I probably pass on Ben Griffin at 7,500. I could see that maybe being a trap situation. We are leaving the Southeast. We're going over to the West Coast style golf. It's not POA, but it's a little bit of an adjustment, and I think Ben's better in that Southeast Bermuda situation. So I could see possibly bouncing on Ben Griffin, but I actually have Suh as my cash play here, Pat. Believe
Okay.
it or not. I mean, he plays and practices out of TPC Summerlin, very comfortable here, and I know that didn't matter last year as he missed the cut, but he's also got a top 10 here, and I think he's a better player. He's a different player. I think him and Ryan are vibing. Things are good. I want to talk about because there's a lot of good plays in here that I think a bunch of people could mention and we could talk about, like Davis Thompson. I mean, Ryder's at least been consistent. I think Peter Kest is interesting, but I want to. He burned me. I didn't talk about him on the betting show because he burned me last week. But you know what? I bought him knowing what I was buying and exactly what I thought. Worst case scenario could happened. And Doug Gim missed the cut last
Oh,
week.
yeah. I was
Right?
so glad you mentioned him.
But he still hit it really well. Like, still hit it really well. Averaging over 300 yards off the tee. Hit 72% of his greens in reg. Above average on distance and fairways. He just couldn't putt again. Like, absolutely horrible putter. Lost a stroke on day one. Lost 2 1/3 strokes on day 2.
Is there anybody that has better looking stats than Doug Gim that just can't seem to like?
Well, it was Luke List before Luke List figured out how to putt. I mean, Luke's maybe a little better, but he hasn't missed 2 cuts in a row since January and February. So I mean, like, we've seen him miss a cut and bounce back. He missed a cut at the Genesis Scottish, bounced back with a T27. Missed the cut at the Players, bounced back with a T27 at Valspar, missed the cut at Mexico, T27 at Wells Fargo. Am I looking at Doug Gim? Yeah, I am. Okay. So I mean, as consistent as the ball striking numbers have been, and it's not like he hasn't had weeks where he's putted well. I mean,
Yeah, his putting is. I mean, he's gained and
yeah. And according to Fantasy National, Bermuda is his worst surface by about double or more than double over bent grass, which is what we have this week. So I think, if a bunch of people were on Doug Gim, which I think they were last week, he's a possible bounce back candidate here in this range in a decent pivot.
yeah, I like him. I was just looking at him while I was multitasking while you were talking. I was looking at Gim and then you bring him up. So I just think it's amazing how good his stats look. At the Wyndham, he lost 9 strokes putting, which is just so crazy. It drives me funny.
Yeah.
Um,
What are some other pivots in here? I got a couple other names I'm interested in.
I think let's see up top. I think SH Kim's are. I mean, I think that's a pivot. I think I'll be interested to see what people do with Akshay.
Yeah, I think
I think at the bottom, I think Callum Tarrant is a little bit of a pivot.
Yeah, I like Callum. I think people like Callum. I think right there in that range. I like what Chesson Hadley's doing right now, and he's played Vegas well, but he's been consistent. He can get super hot with the putter. What's really held him back is he's been terrible around the greens. But I mean, this is a high green and reg situation. If you are missing greens, this is the green and reg numbers here are higher than they are on average at the Sanderson. I mean, Sanderson, you average, I think, 12 greens and reg. Here is 13 to 13 and a half. So you need less of the around the green play as you did at the Sanderson. And Hadley's played this place pretty damn good, and we know how hot he can get with the putter.
Yeah.
and the irons are clicking too. I mean, the putter's been solid. He just can't chip when he's out of it. But I think too, some of that is like third shots, around the green on these par fives. He's going to have one less par five to deal with this week. I just think this is an interesting spot for him. He's played the Shriners, dude. He's played the Shriners every year, almost every year. Let's see, every year except for 2016 since 2013. He has a third, a fourth, a seventh, an 18th, a 27th, 37th last year. Couple miscuts. Like, he loves the Shriners.
Yeah, I mean, I don't Hadley probably would be a Shriner if he may actually be a Shriner. I don't know. We should check with him and
His
see.
legs are too long to fit in a go-kart, though.
I don't think you have. I think if you can get a different job as a Shriner,
No,
you
I know.
don't have to be a go-karter.
No. Who wants to be a Shriner if they can't do the go-kart? If they can't do the go-karting?
I think there's other things that they can do though. They give the tall one something else.
Sounds like discrimination. I don't like
I
that.
don't know, but I tell you what, a guy that I like a lot down here that I still don't understand why you don't like him yet, but that's Matthew Naismith coming off a top 25 last week. Has a wonderful history here. 4 times playing here, 4 times in the top 20 with 2 top 10s, a second, which is or a second last year, a T8 back in 2021. I think Naismith is very interesting down here.
I didn't say I hate Naismith. I don't like him. I didn't like him as an outright winner. You talked about him as an outright winner.
Yeah.
I don't want to bet on him.
I don't think I said the word hate. I didn't throw the word hate out there.
Yes, you did. You just said, I don't know why you hate him.
Okay, maybe I did.
You're not even paying attention to yourself.
Well, that's
How are you
not.
supposed to be an expert? How are you supposed to be an expert multitasker if you can't even pay attention to yourself?
I just don't like to use the strong word of hate, but maybe right then I was trying to do something.
Well, while we're still here and we're talking pivots, and this one scares me to death. Scares me way more than Naismith, but I'm interested. CT Pan.
Oh gosh, yeah.
He just pops. Like, he sucked all year. I mean, 2023 is coming off of miscuts. I guess he was fighting back off of the injury or whatever he had going on. And then bang, 4th place at the Byron Nelson. Right after that, a month later, bang, 3rd place at the RBC. Miscut, 70th, 64th, miscut, bang, 9th last week at the Sanderson. Like, and I mean, I don't love how he's doing a lot of it. It's kind of opposite Chess and Hadley. I mean, his irons are actually pretty good, but he's gained a lot around the green. What is wrong with his driving? Is it his distance, accuracy, or both? Let's see. I guess he just doesn't gain a lot of strokes with distance, but he hits plenty of fairways. You don't have to be super long here. I don't mind CT. I think at least it's a little bit of upside. Now, he's never really played well here, but I think it's cheap and he gives me a little upside. It'll be like 1%, 2% owned.
Okay, I don't really have many thoughts on CT.
Not playing Taylor Montgomery, the Vegas guy who, I mean, I'm just until we see something different out of him.
Yeah.
Anything else? 7K range?
I don't. Kind of surprised you didn't mention Chad Ramey. You're
Oh, I love Chad Ramey. Yeah.
7,000. Other than that, I don't really have anybody in here that I'm.
Did I just say I love Chad Ramey? We are definitely in the fall. Okay.
Yeah, this has got to be the fall if you said that.
Somebody,
we got to clip that one and bring it back when we get into the meat of the season next year.
No, I apologize. I apologize for that. Those of you that are Team DB guys, the few, the proud, I'm sorry I said that. I'm happy with Chad Ramey because I was on him last week and I had him on the betting card. I had him in DFS. He played nicely. And I think he's kind of stabilized right now. I think he's a really good play.
Good. You know who has 2 top 10s in a row?
Troy Merritt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amish Troy, baby. I would rather have Ramey, but I get it. If you want Troy Merritt, I get it.
Well, I mean, Ramey's been pretty good too.
Yeah. There's some value down here for sure. I mean, this is how, these guys down here and this is an interesting spot to allow you to get those Ludwig, Tom Kim lineups built. And Yeah, the 7K range is looking nice, looking real nice. All right, let's get to our 6K draft. I want to remind everybody, if you want to hop in the Listener League, the link is in the description. It's our Splash contest, the Listener League on Splash. We run an NFL one every week, and we run a PGA one. So PGA tiers contest. Both of these, the NFL and the PGA, are both $5 entries, 2 max entries, 50 entries total. We pay out to the top 5. So it's kind of a small Listener League over there on Splash. We're trying to grow it. Please consider hopping in. Play against me and Pat in both of those contests. Me and Pat have been dominant in the NFL one so far, except for this week. We're going to change the format back to the tiers-based NFL contest for week 6. Is that right? Wow, it's flying by.
Yeah.
So if you can play DFS in just about any state, also you can play Splash. So check it out. Hop in the PGA and the NFL contest. That one link will get you to our commissioner channel, where you can see all the open contests that we have up for grabs, and you can hop in and join that. So check that out. Let's get to the 6K snake draft. Pat, it was ugly last week. I will say that.
Well, we said the 6K range was ugly. So.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I'm glad you reminded me of that.
Yeah.
We warned you. We did the content because we had to, but we warned you. I think you started last week, didn't you?
I don't. You think I can remember the way this show's gone? You think I remember what happened last week?
I think you did. I think I let you start last week.
Okay.
Okay. So let me just get to. I'm going to start with Lexington. No, I'm not going to start with. I am going to start with my cheapest play on the board that I like, and it's not Jason Duffner. I know.
Thank you, Lord.
Everybody thought it was Jason Duffner. But it was the one guy that me and you both last week had one guy make the cut. I think yours was actually Snedeker, which is shocking. I think he finished like 65th or something. I had Kelly Craft, who finished 16th, who also finished 25th at the Fortinet. Don't look now, but Kelly Craft, who works with our boy Josh Gregory.
He's on a heater.
I think he works with Scotty Ham too. He's on a little bit of a heater. I mean, dude, since the Travelers, he went 38th at the Travelers, 40th at Rocket Mortgage, miscut at the Deer. That's dumb. 40th at the Barbasol, 33rd at the Wyndham, 25th Fortinet, 16th Sanderson. Like, that's for a guy at $6,400. I think that's a steal. And I mean, the irons are dialed and the putting is dialed. He's hitting. He's really bad off the tee. That's a struggle. He doesn't hit it very far, and he's not hitting many fairways. So hold on to your hats there. But Kelly Craft is my guy at 6,400. Some serious savings there, and I'm dead serious. Like I would put him in lineups with, like, if I want to go real heavy studs and duds, I'll have him in lineups.
Okay. I'm gonna go up a little bit I'm gonna go up to EVR.
Yeah.
Eric Van Rooyen.
Yep.
He's at 6,800, playing, pretty well recently. Has played in 2 events this fall season, with the 30th at the Fortinet, T16 last week. So I'll go with EVR as my next play here.
Hitting it great.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, because I had EVR and Joel Damon written down as potential chalk plays in the 6K range, which we've not really had a lot of chalk in the 6K range in the last few weeks, but I could see both of those guys being 10, 12%, which is kind of chalky in this range. Are you willing to play those guys in DFS if they get that high?
I feel like I'm more willing to play a chalky EVR than I am Joel, even though I do like Joel this week.
Yeah.
That sounds weird to say, but I just feel like I trust EVR a little more than I do Joel.
That does sound weird to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I like both of them. I mean, right here I would draft Joel, but I'm not. But I do like both of them. That's going to be interesting to see where they net out here in terms of ownership. I'm gonna get to some interesting. I want to get to some weird pivots here, Pat. Pivot when I pivot. Let me see here. I mean, I'm gonna just go ahead and be the guy who pivots off of Joel and goes to $6,700 Harry Hall. Harry Hall, who's got a 15th and an 8th here. He is the local Vegas resident, loves him some TPC Summerlin, and has played well here in the last couple years, despite poor form coming in, a lot like last week at Sanderson. Now he made the cut at the Fortinet, finished 45th. Last week at the Sanderson, he only shot 1 under. He was pretty bad all the way around, but I know he's going to be comfy here. Harry Hall's proven to be a guy that likes him some home cooking and sleeping in his own bed situation. So I'll go Harry Hall.
Okay. I don't mind Harry Hall at all. Harry Hall at all.
Yeah, that rhymed, Pat. That rhymed. Does that entertain you?
Good for me. It did entertain me there. All right, this is a gut. This is a gut one, and this has been ever since I just started doing research, and I was looking down at the cheap guy
while you're on the show.
Yeah, during the show.
Yeah.
I have a feeling about Lanto Griffin this week. T28 last week at the Sanderson Farms.
I think it was all putting though, wasn't it?
Well, he's a good putter, which I'm fine with this week. And you look at his history here, which is pretty decent. He's got, I think, 2 top 20s. Yeah, he has a 6th in 2022 and an 18th in 2020. I think Lanto is a sneaky. He's a sneaky play, DB.
All right.
Yeah, you can't. This isn't a cash lineup. You have to just write it down and see what happens. You can't disagree with it. Well, you can disagree with it, but you can't say we can't put him in the lineup.
All right, this is a little bit like my Doug Gim pick last week because I had him everywhere on the betting card in DFS, and he missed the cut by 2 shots. He made a surge on Friday, and it wasn't enough. He fell 2 shots short. And could be some bias, but I'm going back to Grayson Sigg this week. See what happens. It wasn't pretty last week, but he's played here twice, finished 44th and 47th. He's been in solid form. He really has. He's played nicely. What I like about him is he comes out round 1, and it wasn't great. Wasn't hitting the irons well at all. Shot 1 over. On round 2, knowing what he had to do, he went out there and did his thing. Shot 4 under. Just got it done. The irons were better than they were day 1 by a long shot, but they were kind of average still. But I like that he showed something round 2 and shot 4 under. So I think G Sig to make a cut, do some damage. I think he's got genuine top 25, top 20 upside in this field. I think is there. So I'll go with $6,900 G Sig.
Okay. I will stay up in the $6,900 range, and I will go with Carl Yuan, coming off of a 6th place finish last week. He is so hit or miss.
Yeah,
it's nuts. And look at this. He gained over 10 strokes total last week. Over 8 tee to green, 4.3 off the tee. Over 2 on approach, around the green, putting 2 straight. I mean, very good. I'll just say maybe we get a hot Yuan.
Hot Yuan?
Hot Yuan. A hot one.
That sounds good. All right, so 6K draft is Grayson Sigg, EVR, Eric Van Rooyen, Harry Hall, Carl Yuan, Kelly Kraft, Lanto Griffin. Yuck. That's a 6K snake draft lineup if I've ever seen one. Don't forget to check out our friends at Underdog too. I'm gonna dish out some more props on some more cards on Underdog in the Discord and as well on the Tuesday email going out, the heavy petting email. So that's in the link in the description. And I think you might have missed out on the 100% deposit match up to $500, but they'll at least do it to $100 if you click the code or click the link and use the code Junkies there when you sign up. And other than that, Pat, are you going to play any Lexi Thompson at 6,100?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Yeah, I don't see her making the cut, but stranger things have happened.
Do you think she gets over 1% owned?
No,
I don't either.
Let me ask you, what would go down in history as the craziest thing? Rod Pampling winning this thing, or Lexi Thompson finishing, I'm going to say top 10.
Probably Lexi finishing top 10.
Really?
Even though we've seen Rod win this thing.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, but that was nuts. Wasn't he like 400 to 1 or something?
Yeah, but I mean, it's Rod Pampling.
I know. I know.
I'm just saying.
I actually kind of think the thing for me is Rod Pampling. I think it could be Rod Pampling.
I think Lexi finishing in the top 10 would be just.
Oh, it'd be crazy. I'm not saying it wouldn't be crazy. Well, let me. I just want to, just for kicks and giggles here. Let's see. The year Rod Pampling won. Let's just 2017. Let's just look at other names in the field. Are you ready for this? He beat Brooks Koepka by 2 shots. Lucas Glover, Harris English, Francesco Molinari, Keegan Bradley, Cam Smith, Aaron Wise, RIP. I love him, man. I want him to come back. A guy named Jan Hram, Charles Howell III, Brian Harmon, Luke List, Russell Henley, Adam Hadwin, Tringali, Brennan Steele, Bryson DeChambeau, Xander Schauffele, Billy Horschel. These people were in the field when Rod Pampling won.
Okay. I'm just saying.
Tony Finau, Troy Merritt, Jonas Blixt, Harold Varner III.
All right. Well, you're going a little too far with Blake.
Seamus Power. I mean, he beat a legitimate field, and he won by 2 shots. He shot a 6 under on Sunday.
What was his? I wonder what his form was like going into that when he won.
We can find out. It's incredible. The Rod Pampling, the Rod Pampling win at Vegas should be an ESPN 30 for 30 or something. It's just the wildest thing. All right, let me tell you what it was. He had played at the Sanderson and finished 42nd. Prior to that, he was miscut, 73rd, 38th, 65th, miscut, 44th, miscut, 61st, 66th, miscut, 26th at Puerto Rico, miscut, 49th. That was all that calendar year. His last top 10 was in March of 2015 at the Puerto Rico Open, and he won the Shriners in November of 2016. So literally 18 months it had been since his last top 10. And then
he was on a full schedule tour member, whereas Lexi is getting one opportunity with a lot of attention. I mean, I don't know. It's very close. It's a good question.
It's wild. He gained 12.7 strokes tee to green, 6.7 on approach, 5.2 around the green.
Oh, wow. Hot rod, baby.
He won Bay Hill in 2006. I didn't know that. That was his only other win. 10 years after he had won on the tour. More than 10 years after he won on the tour. Unbelievable. The story of Rod Pampling. I'm telling you, ESPN 30 for 30. His previous best finish was a 34th. I think the answer is Rod Pampling. That's nuts. That field is nuts.
Okay.
600 to 1. All right, that's enough on Rod Pampling. Thanks for watching. May your screens be green. Full complement of content coming out this week for the Shriners. Let's have a great week. See ya. Out.